grown man business. Priceless experiences, Napa Valley wine tasting, spoiling my women friends. Sitting at the table with millionaires. The narrative is tax loops, accounts offshore squares. It's not allowed.
Welcome back. It's great to be here again with the family. You already know how we start this thing off. If you can see me, press 1. And if you can hear me, press 2. And if everything is everything on your end, we'll get it going. What's going on, man? You rocking with your boy. If you don't know my name is Ken Billions. Salute to you out there. Welcome to Coin Gang, the #1 home for personal development, a place where you leave better than when you came. You come here a certain type of way and you leave better. You come ordinary and you leave extraordinary, right? This is ministry for the abstract mind. This is a safe space for all of y'all with that out the box philosophy. What's good, y'all? What's popping? Make sure you keep your babies close and be patient with your loved ones, especially now. I like to emphasize that. Keep your babies close to you, right? Keep them close to you. And whoever's in your life, your man or your lady, be patient with them. They just ordinary, trying to become extraordinary. Sometimes they don't know any better. So be patient with them. If you're on Facebook, make sure you get your supporter badges. What are you waiting for? See that little heart below with the blue around it? Make sure you click on that. If you're on YouTube, Super Chat is your friend and the Cash App is your friend. That's why it's there. It is your friend. Just a heads up, as we come into the new year, a lot of content that we did this year will not be on YouTube. It will be on kenbillions.com. So if you're looking for old content, you have to be a member of kenbillions.com. That's where a lot of content will be released at. All right. My album of the day. Let me go to my album of the day. My album of the day is 50 Cent, Guess Who's Back. This is an album that 50 did before Get Rich or Die Trying. He was on Trackmasters. A lot of people don't know about this album. This was a street album right here. I've been rocking with 50 for a long time. And it's just interesting to see where someone lands. I didn't think this was going to happen for him to go on this incredible run. But I should have known because he had a ill-ass mixtape grind back in the day. So for all my hip-hop heads out there, you know what this album is. This is 50 Cent, Guess Who Back? And this is my album of the day. Very problematic content, but nonetheless, this is what we grew up on, and this is what it was. So this is my album of the day, 50 Cent, Guess Who's Back? Today, we are talking about the common sense problem. The problem with common sense. You know how people say, you know what, common sense ain't common, right? Everybody doesn't have common sense. Well, when I'm done today, you don't want common sense, right? You don't want common sense. You want uncommon sense. You want a sense that's not common, right? Common things don't really have that much value. So you don't want common sense. Are diamonds common? No. Is gold common? No, right? All the things that have value in the world are uncommon. Okay, so we're going to talk about the common sense problem. We're going to talk about what's wrong with being 1%. You know, we hear about the elite and the 1% all the time. Well, I want to know what's wrong with being 1%. There's nothing wrong with being in a club, huddled up, drinking, smoking, right? There's nothing wrong with the turn up, right? There's nothing wrong with tuning into the versus battles. So what's wrong with being the elite? What's wrong with being 1%? Really? We're going to talk about the harsh reality of the masses. And when I show you this, it's very, very, very ugly. It'll give you the chills. And we're going to talk about the #1 killer is comfort. My conversation for today is striving to be the elite 1%. Now, I've been a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, but I've never been the 1%. What else is there left to do? I slept with the women, I drove the cars, I touched some money, hung out with the bros. I did all the cool things that the culture said mattered. I did all the things that hip hop said was important. What's next? Now what? Already got a crib. Now what? Already started the family. Now what? Now what do you do? Right? So I'm on something else now. I'm striving to be the elite 1%. See, I don't have a problem with the 1%. In fact, I admire the 1%. It's something for me to aspire to. It's something for me to grind for and wake up in the morning. While I'm striving for the 1%, what are you going to be doing? Didn't you already get the crib already? Didn't you already get the hubby, the wifey? Didn't you already have the kid already? Didn't you already get the job and go to school? What's next? What's next? But before we get into that, for you to be in the 1%, you have to identify what type of intelligence that you have. Let's call these your superpowers. Now, most people are going to have a primary thing, and then you're going to have sprinkles of the others and other intelligences. But you have to identify what kind of intelligence you have. All right. So let's start it off. Spatial intelligence. What is spatial intelligence? Strengths: visual and spatial judgment. Characteristics: draws for fun, good at puzzles, recognizes patterns, interprets visuals well. The thing about these intelligence that you need to identify if it's you, because you could have been judging your intelligence. Well, I'm this kind of person and I don't know where I fit and blah, blah, blah. And it's leading to a lot of self-doubt. You have to understand that each one of us have a superpower, right? Each one of us have a superpower. Okay? You have to identify your intelligent superpower so you know how to use it, and you stop judging yourself and you stop looking at your specific way of thinking as wrong. One of the things that's keeping many of us out of the 1% is doubt and fear and self-judgment. Okay? There's nothing wrong with your type of intelligence. You just have to identify it and lean into it. You are who you are. Okay? Let's move on. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Strengths: physical movement, motor control. Characteristics: skilled at sports, excellent physical condition, remembers by doing instead of hearing and or seeing. Excuse me. Now, that is real important, because some of you are ashamed of how you learn, right? You can't sit in a classroom. You don't retain the information because you are a kinesthetic person. You remember by doing, right? If someone is able to teach you by doing it, it's going to stay with you for life. Okay? And all this time you thought you were dumb. All this time you were judging yourself. All this time you was doubting yourself. And all this time you didn't know that you just was a kinesthetic learner. You see? There is nothing wrong with you. There's no reason why you can't strive to be elite. There's no reason why you can't strive to be in the 1%. But you've been judging yourself this whole time because you didn't know your type of intelligence. You might not be a person that sits in a lecture for 4 hours and able to retain that, and now you take a test. No, you need to be in the field. You need to touch. You need to do. There ain't nothing wrong with you. Let's go to musical intelligence. Strengths: rhythm and music. Characteristics: appreciation for music, thinks in sounds and patterns, rich understanding of musical structure, notes. Again, some of you hum all day, right? Some of you, your musical intelligence is so on point, you can see the sound. You hear things inside of a song that no one hears. You compare your life to a soundtrack. You can taste sound. You hear what I said? You can taste sound. And all this time, you've been thinking you're weird. All this time, you've been thinking something is wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you, beloved. You just don't understand your superpower. The same way a shark can smell blood and water, or a cheetah is able to run at high speeds, or a leopard is able to climb trees. Lions have strength. Gorillas have strength, right? They all have a superpower. Everything in nature has this specific thing that it does. Don't feel bad for the gazelle. It runs 60 miles an hour. Everything in nature has this thing. So you believe that the great architect of the universe is going to give every single thing in nature a thing, but not you? You've been thinking wrong, because the 99% are thought to think physically in how things look per se. So you've been thinking because you're not tall enough, because you're not fast enough, because you're not beautiful enough, you're losing. No. The 1% is about mind. A human's super ability is not jumping high. Do you know why? Because it don't last long. It has a shelf life to it, right? See, this intelligent thing, you can scale this thing until you're dead. It gets better with time. We don't physically get better. We all peak and then we come down from there. But when it comes to thinking, a woman's value is not in how she looks. How could it be? When our superpowers are inside of us, not outside of us. How could a woman lose value as she ages when she's developing her intelligence? That's 99% thinking. This bill today is striving to be the elite 1%. It's not about how things look per se. It's about how things function. It's about systems. It's about intelligence. It's about mind. Stop thinking you're not that one. You just haven't identified what your superpower is. Okay? So let's move on. You got linguistic intelligence, strengths, words, language, writing, characteristics, enjoys writing, speaking, good at public speaking, very persuasive, can explain things very well. These are your politicians. These are your charismatic leaders, right? If you notice, the most important people that ever lived had a level of linguistic intelligence, because words do something to a human being, right? It's the same way as water when it hits the soil and plants grow, right? When we plant these word seeds in people, it has the ability to inspire them. It also has the ability to make them feel terrible about themselves. Many of you are linguistic, have linguistic intelligence. Let's keep going. All right, let me take this down. It's going to come back up in a sec. And when it comes back up, I expect you to hit that thing. All right. You got logical, mathematical skills. Strengths, analyzing problems, mathematical operations. Characteristics, fact problem solver, understands complex computations, likes thinking about abstract ideals. I like that. Right? Some of you have this kind of mindset, and there are people be like, oh man, you don't always gotta not compliment, you always don't have to complicate things. That's just who you are. That's like telling Wolverine, man, your claws don't always gotta come out. That's like telling Professor Xavier, man, you don't always gotta think. What? All right, then you have interpersonal intelligence. Strengths, understanding and relating to others. Many of you call this an empath. Characteristics, strong emotional intelligence skills. Creates healthy relationship. Good at solving conflicts. You are who you are. The thing that's keeping many people out of the 1% is this doubt and this self-portrait of themselves, how they look at themselves. Because you think your wiring, there's something wrong with it because it doesn't fit into TikTok, right? You think there's something wrong with it because it doesn't have, your hair's not long enough. We place a lot of value in attempting to develop things that depreciate. I've had luxury cars. They get flat tires. They need an oil change. That can't be my primary investment. My investment has to be in something that does not depreciate when I drive it off the lot. And that is my superpower. I have to identify what type of intelligence I have, so I'm able to use it, right? And I'm able to be in my proper person, so I can stop sitting here doubting myself, so I can stop sitting here feeling shamed because I'm not like this man. There's nothing wrong being interpersonal, right? And then you have intrapersonal. You have interpersonal and intrapersonal. Intrapersonal is strengths, introspection, and self-reflection. Characteristic, understand one's own strengths, weaknesses, highly self-aware, sensitive to one's own feelings. Now, people like this are good at self-help books. They're good at auditing themselves, right? So whereas most people will say, what's happening to me in my life is because of something, an intrapersonal person that has this kind of intelligence is always going to look at themselves first, right? They're always going to look at themselves as the root cause of everything negative going on in their life. They're not going to blame anybody. They're not going to blame the society. They're not going to blame their gender. They're not going to blame the system. They're going to start with themselves and say, for this to be happening to me, something must be going on with me. That's an intelligence, because a lot of people can't focus their eyes inward. Everybody's a victim, right? So the key for the intrapersonal intelligence, that the person with this superpower, is you have to know how to balance it, though, because you don't want to be too far in your head where you get lost, right? You don't want to be too self-critical, because that can lead to procrastination. And a intrapersonal intelligent person, right? Intrapersonal intelligent person has, if they're not careful, they may procrastinate because they're perfectionists, because they're highly self-aware, right? They're thinking about their feelings, right? The product is never so the product is never ready. Maybe next year. So they got to be careful, because they have the tendency to analyze and audit self a little too much. But still, it's a superpower that a lot of people don't have. And then finally, you have naturalistic intelligence. Okay, you have strengths, seeing patterns and relationships to nature. Characteristics, interested in areas like botany, biology, zoology, appreciation for nature. Enjoys activities like camping, gardening, and hiking, right? So for the people that enjoy being outdoors, you have a naturalistic intelligence. The hikers, the people that always had an affinity to catch worms and lightning bugs. And you have this thing for nature, right? If you remember the character Dr. Dolittle, his character, he would be a person with naturalistic intelligence. Okay? So the reason why I went through these is because everybody has a superpower. Everybody has a way that they think, right? And the key is to lean in the way instead of thinking that you're wrong, instead of thinking people got the one up on you, because you may judge or you may value how things look, but it's not about that. It's about that for the 99%, but I'm talking about striving to be in the 1%. And if we're striving to be in the 1%, then we move a little differently. So we have to know how to think. You have knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Right? This is important because everybody says, well, I just feel like. Well, I just feel like. You're in a conversation with people and they're telling you how they feel about something. You have to know how to think. Let me tell you what your feelings are, okay? Your feelings are for the environment. What that means is, if you are practicing proper emotional intelligence, you'll be able to know when it's about to rain. You'll be able to sense danger. You'll be able to know when it's time to go. People have their emotional intelligence turned down and turned up in the wrong place. Your emotions are not for a conversation. When you and I are engaging, tell me what you think. Don't tell me what you feel unless somebody's about to run up in this joint in 5 minutes. Right? Because your emotions are turned off where they're supposed to be, you can't feel environmental changes. Your emotions would be just like a bird knowing when it's time to migrate down south, right? Or what we call instinct. An animal just knows what to do. It knows when the seasons are changing. It knows when it's about to rain. We also have that same ability. The problem is we're not emotionally intelligent. We use our emotions in conversations where they don't belong. Your thinking belongs in conversation. Now we're going to go over on thinking skills, because remember, we are striving to be 1%. All right. Knowledge, observation, and recall of information, knowledge of major ideals, knowledge of dates, events, places, mastery of subject matter, comprehension, understanding information, grasp meaning, interpret facts, compare, contrast, predict consequences. How many of you do that? How many of you, when you're in a conversation, you're able to actually comprehend, or are you waiting to talk? Most likely, you are waiting to talk because you're in your feelings. What about application? Use information, use methods, concepts, theories, solve problems using required skills. What about analysis? Seeing patterns, organization of parts, recognition of hidden meanings. Synthesis. Use old ideals to create new ones. Generalize from given facts. Relate knowledge from several areas. Predict, draw conclusions. And finally, evaluation. Discriminate between ideals. Assess values of ideals. Make choices. Verify value of evidence. Tell me, where did you see feelings? For all those that talk like that, can you please remove that from your conversation in 2020? Can you take that out of your conversation? Well, I just feel like, can you do that? Or are you going to walk the path of the 99%, always in your feelings? The 1% are the 1% for a reason, because they know how to think. Now, believe it or not, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. You know, you can be doing this with your mind. When someone's talking, you can be doing this with your mind. You can be going from room to room, knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. And if you train this, you can use these skills and then give a response quick. But you got to get out of your feelings, though. The reason why people can't do this is because of common sense. One second. Who said common sense was a good thing? This is etymology, right? Common, belonging to, owned, or used jointly, general, of a public nature or character. Common, general, free, open, public. in public, shared by all or many. Now, we know, based on supply and demand, we know that the most valuable things in the world are not shared by the public. We know that the rare the rarer something is, the more value it has. So how can common sense have value if it's something everybody's supposed to have? A common sense. Look, belonging to, all, owned or used jointly, general, of a public nature. In common, public, shared by all or many, general, not specific, familiar. A Lamborghini's not familiar. A Bugatti's not familiar. When they take diamonds out of the ground in Africa and they hold them, they're not familiar to the public, and that drives the price up. Every time we see something uncommon, we stare at it. When we see somebody uncommon in looks, we look at them hard. If a woman is wearing a wedding ring and the man spent some chips on it, all of her sister girlfriends be like, damn, look at that ring. Why? It's not common. We love the uncommon. So why do we value common sense? Sense, faculty, or perception. Meaning, import, interpretation. One of the five senses: understanding, perception, feeling, undertaking, perceive, feel, know. Okay, so let's double back. So, shared by many or all. Okay, so common sense would be a perception that is shared by many or all. Love and Hip Hop has a lot of viewers every month. That's common sense. If you look at the things that are the most common, it has the least equity to it. In fact, I would argue that people tend to do the most unintelligent things. People tend to watch the most unintelligent things. They tend to look at the most unintelligent things. In the millions, they share common sense. Because a sense is to perceive, to feel, to know. Right? And common is something shared by many. Right? So common sense would be a perception that's shared by many. Is this why there's only a few people in the 1%? Because they have a perception that is not shared by many. When you begin to step out of common sense, do you notice that you don't have conversations like you used to? Do you notice that you spend time alone? The more uncommon your senses become, the more you lose friends and family. Am I lying? The more uncommon your senses are, the more your phone is dry. Follow me what I'm saying. See, to even understand what I'm saying, you have to have uncommon sense. The more uncommon your sense becomes, you begin to stray away from your hometown and the people that you grew up with. Because the majority of people have a sense that's in common with each other. This is why they gravitate towards the things that they gravitate toward, because it's common sense. How else could they be there? How else could something like Love and Hip Hop have the viewership that it has? It's the same product over and over and over again, yet it has millions of people watch it and are entertained by it. Why? Because those people have a common sense. Now, if you go to YouTube, how come videos about real estate, economics, health, money, how come they have lesser views than music videos, than fights, than gossip, than celebrity gossip? But isn't health important? Having a firm understanding of real estate, isn't that important? Isn't knowing about the economy important? But is that where people put their attention? No, it is not. Because that's actually uncommon. Discipline is uncommon. Financial literacy is uncommon sense. To be focused on health and wellness in modern times, that is an uncommon sense. Words mean what they mean. In common, public, shared by all or many. So I ask you, why would you want to have common sense? What are you going to do with it? Because for you to have common sense, that's going to put you with common people, having common conversations, and you're going to get common outcomes, the outcome that everybody gets. You want the outcome that everybody gets? You want the outcome that their children get? You want that for your children? You want the common outcome of that husband? You want that for yours? You want the common outcome for that wife, for the wives? You want that for your wife? There is no way that we can get to the 1% with common sense. In fact, to make something of ourselves, we have to do something extremely uncommon. It's uncommon to be disciplined. As of today, it is uncommon to study. It is uncommon to delay gratification. It is uncommon to be able to focus on one thing 5, 6, 7 hours straight. That is uncommon. And what we find out, right? What we find out when we look inside the lives of the so-called elite or the 1%, They do things extremely uncommon. They do things the total opposite of the masses. So you have another year that is coming in your life. Are you, bro, sis, are you going to have common sense? Are you going to do what the common person does? Do you want common things, common outcomes, common love, common finances, common travel? Right? You see how when I put common on those other things, do you want a common marriage? Do you want to have common children? Huh? Do you want common health? You know how many people die every year because of heart disease? The majority of Americans are unhealthy. The common health trait in America is heart disease, cancer. So if those things that are common aren't valuable, then when I put common in front of sense, why do you find value in that? Do you want to have common sense? You want to be vibrating on the same frequency as everybody else? You want your dreams to look like everybody else? When you that old man or that old woman in the rocking chair, you want your memories to be like everybody else? That's common. It is common to have a dysfunctional household. It is common to be in a relationship and you don't get along with the person that you have a child with. It is common that people are check to check. It is common that people have bad health. It is common that people never actually find their purpose. That's common sense. Anybody know who this is? Can anybody tell me who this woman is? Anybody? Take a shot at it. Who's this? I'm going to show you the difference between common sense and uncommon sense. Who is this woman? Oof. I got some. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I got the smartest chat. For sure. I got the smartest chat. Hands down. This is Helen Keller, right? Helen Keller was born blind and deaf. How could this woman make such an impact and she's blind and deaf? She cannot see or hear. She never seen her parents. She never seen her own face. She never heard the voice of a baby. She never heard the sound of a violin. She has uncommon sense. Helen Keller, deaf and blind, wrote to 8 presidents and they wrote her back. Helen was an excellent typist. She was a better typist than her teachers. Helen Keller visited 39 countries. Helen Keller was the first deaf and blind person to earn a college degree. She graduated from Radcliffe College with honors. Does she have common sense? Does Helen Keller have common sense? See, because if she had common sense, she would have made excuses for herself, like many of you do. And you can see, and you can hear, and you have all your limbs. You have everything going for you. Nothing stopping you from being exceptional. You just play in your head all day. You have every single thing you need. Then why don't you move forward? Stuck in the past? You got bullied when you was a kid? You got R word? You got M word? Can't get over the hump? Abusive relationship? Helen Keller would have loved your problems. See, Helen Keller had uncommon sense. When you have uncommon sense, you're able to do extraordinary things. People that can see, people that can hear, have no physical limitations, are average. Explain that. All your sight, all your vision, all your hearing, your touch. You have all your limbs. You have space and opportunity to be more, and you don't. Do you know why? It's because you have common sense. If you break away from the common, you will put yourself in a space of fluidity that you can achieve, and you can do great things. But you will never do those great things. You'll never overcome your fears. You'll never overcome your self-doubt as long as you have common sense. As long as you keep thinking like everybody else, vibrating like everybody else, following the group, following the talking points. Out of all the worlds you can live in, why you live in that one, beloved? Out of all the possible outcomes in your life, why do you choose the common? Why? Because it'll be familiar when you explain it to your mom and dad. It'll be familiar to your sister girl group or your brotherhood. It's easy to explain to them what you're doing. I have a tough question for you now. What if your peoples ain't the wave? What if your sister girls ain't the wave? What if your homies, bro, ain't the wave? What if they don't got the answers? What if your parents ain't the wave? What if you are having common sense for people that aren't even the wave? You want to make your life explainable to people that haven't even overcome their childhood fears. You want to make your life explainable to people that are afraid to go down the street. You want to try to make your life explainable to people that come outside and don't even look up at the sun. They don't even look at the sky. They walk out the house and don't even take a deep breath. You want to explain your life to common people? A lot of you are staying single, waiting for a common relationship. Think about this. You think you're not settling. Yeah, you are. You're waiting for something common. You're waiting for something that you can explain to your mom. You're waiting for something that you can explain to your dad. I'm not settling. You are. You're settling for common. It has to look a certain type of way. Well, what way is that? Something that you can easily package and present to your peoples so they can give you validation, and then you could take it and post it on IG, and then other people with common sense are going to give you a like. Don't live your life like that, man. Don't live your life like that, man. Life is short. It really is. And the world only remembers people that do things that are uncommon. Many of you are actually sitting waiting for mediocrity. You're begging for it. You're begging to be regular. All because it'll make you sit at that quote unquote cool table. Let me tell you something, man. There is no more lunch table no more, man. That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. That's what you're waiting for. Helen Keller traveled to 39 countries. She couldn't even see. She couldn't even hear the birds or the waves splashing. She graduated from college. This is not a normal person. If someone tells you no right now, you crumble. If a man doesn't call you back, you start questioning yourself, sis. This was a woman that was deaf and blind. And you sitting up here worried if you gonna die alone. What? That's your concern? Are you gonna die alone? You're oh, I'm 40 and I'm not married. Oh no. What if the people that came up with that narrative aren't actually the wave? What if the people that are putting that pressure on you, what if when no one's looking, they cry at night? Because they got nightmares from childhood they haven't got over. What if the people that are pushing that narrative on you, right? What if they're not the wave? What if you're the wave? What if you're the wave, fam? Better think about that. Who's this dude right here? What's this guy's name? Anybody? I know some people in my chat gonna figure it out because I have the smartest people in the chat. Like 3, 4, 5 people gonna come through and say who this is, who this man is, who this is. What I told you. 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 Didn't I tell you? Boom. Didn't I say at least 4? Didn't I told you? What I told you. Stop playing with my chat. I can't speak for everybody else's chat. People over here be doing the work behind the scenes. What I told you. What I told you. What I told y'all. Girls and guys. Now I have a question for y'all. Did he have common sense? Does this man have common sense? Yes or no? Did he have common sense? Here's an individual that was born a slave, right? And he saved the South. Huh? How did he save the South? Cotton ruins the soil. After the Civil War, the South was devastated. George Washington Carver saved the South. He told the South to start planting peanuts because the planting peanuts would revive their soil because cotton dries it out. I almost called him Benjamin Banneker. If another uncommon sense person, if George Washington Carver does not tell the South the secrets of agriculture, they would have starved to death. He saved their lands. Did you know his private part was cut off? So just like Helen Keller, he has every reason to feel sorry for himself. Just like Helen Keller, something happened to him. Just like Helen Keller, right? He has uncommon sense. Yes, people, why I keep messing with that? George Washington Carver was castrated. Did you know that? George Washington Carver stayed with a white family in Iowa, I believe. And they didn't want George Washington Carver mating with any of the white daughters. This is a true story. So right now, the black male puts heavy emphasis in that part right there. And because of that, that could be a reason that the black male can't get to the 1%. Because the black male's intelligence is in that spot right there. That area is actually handicapping the black male. George Washington Carver did not have it, and he was able to develop 105 ways to use the peanut. Shampoo, mayonnaise, paints, coffee. He helped Henry Ford make peanut rubber cannons for World War One. World War II, I'm sorry. He published 44 practical bulletins for farmers. When Booker T. Washington told him to come to Tuskegee Institute, he went and changed the landscape of farming forever. And he did this castrated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is uncommon sense. You have all of your limbs. You have every single thing. But you're common. You have no desire to be in the 1%. Yet Helen Keller and George Washington Carver were behind the 8 ball. Yet they went on to achieve amazing things. What's stopping you, fam? Colorism, sis? That's stopping you? You sure? Or is it the barriers and the limitations of your own mind? What's stopping you, bruh? Is it the system? Let me tell you something. The system can only stop a man with common sense. As long as you have common sense, yes, the system is rigged against you. You're absolutely right. It takes an uncommon approach to get to the other side of this game. The 1% don't have common sense. And being 1% isn't about money. It's about ability. The population of the earth is 7.9 billion. 1% of that is 79 million. That's 1% of 7.9 billion. 79 million. That's 1%. If you are not a part of that 79 million of being exceptional at something, remember, these are your superpowers right here. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do what he does or she does. All you have to do is be exceptional at your thing. Be great at what you do. One thing about the 1%, they have a great skill of minding their business. Be exceptional in your intelligence. I have a harsh reality for the masses. If you continue with this common thing, common relationships, common health, common talking, common behavior, common sense, if you continue with this, let me show you something. See this? See how it's going? I want you to look at how many people died this year. This is real-time numbers as we speak. Pay attention to how many people passed away this year. If you can't read that number, I'll help you. It's 58,154,000 and counting. So by the time this year is over, 60 million people have passed away. 60. And nobody cares. This is every year. 60 million people every single year. If you continue on being common, you will be in that 60 that no one cares about. In the grand scheme of things, beloved, you might be cool to your mom and dad and your peers, but on here, you're just a number. You have to find a way to be good at what you do, so good that you enter the hearts and minds of other people. Because if you don't, you will be one of these numbers in this 60. And nobody cares. One thing for sure, two things for certain. Humans gonna human. Nobody's gonna care, beloved. They're gonna pour out a little liquor for you. They're gonna go to the repast. They're gonna go to your mama house and eat food. And they gonna go right back to nigging. Like you was never here. A fart in the wind. Just poof, gone. Like you was never here. You better write something. You better feed somebody like Mother Teresa. You better think about some equations like Einstein. You better be the best chef ever. The best painter ever. Before you wind up in this number and nobody says your name. That is the ultimate death, family. That no one says your name when you're gone. No one completes your uncompleted works, deifies your completed work, and build edifices of you. As long as people say your name, you live forever. What are you going to do to make people say your name? You see how this number is rising? This is based on a supercomputer, beloved. Oh, you don't believe me? You think it's a game? Let's scroll down. Look at public health expenditures. Look at the numbers and counting. Oh, if you didn't know what that number was, that's 14 billion. Public education, that's 9 billion. Military expenditure today, oh, that's just 4 billion. Oh, these numbers are real. Look how many cell phones sold today. Today. Look how many TV sets sold worldwide. Everybody wants to be entertained. There has been more phones sold today than book titles published the entire year. Oh, money spent on video games today, 282 million. What we talking about? We can look at what common people are doing. Oh, that 5,142,000. Oh, that's just how much farce was lost this year. Overweight people in the world, 1,720,778,000. Obese people in the world, 799 million. The system is rigged, but just by the way, this is the last thing that we'll look at. There are 41 years left of oil. I will be 38 years old next week. It is highly possible that I will be alive when I see the end of oil. You can't afford to be average, beloved. If you're 40 years old, in 41 years, you'll be 81. It is highly possible your ass is still alive to see the end of oil. And then there's 57,000 days left of natural gas. So there's a movie called Elysium. I suggest you watch it, right? Because if there's only 41 years left of oil, 57,000 days of natural gas, that means that common people right, will be stuck on the planet while the 1% are off planet. You don't think the 1% are going to be on a planet with no oil, right? See, you being common right now has an effect on your future bloodline. Now, if you don't have any kids, you don't have to worry about that. You cool. But if you have children, you being common right now will have a detrimental effect on your bloodline later. Because guess what? If your baby is 10 right now, in 41 years, they'll be 51. So your children and your grandchildren could be living in a world where no resources. And based on how you move right now, for these next 20 years determines your bloodline, beloved. So if you haven't been listening yet, maybe you are now. Have you ever thought about the, hold on, let me scroll up for you, right? Maybe you need to see the numbers, because this is something that we haven't talked about yet today, yet too much. Deaths caused by water-related disease this year, 832,000. People with no access to safe drinking water, 785,806,000. What about water wars, beloved? Do you think that war over water is coming? There's already 785 million people with no access to safe drinking water. Oh, but one thing for sure, two things for certain. Uncommon people will have drinking water. You never thought about that, huh? All this talk about generational wealth. Will your seeds have clean drinking water? You being common right now affects the drinking water of your babies 20 years, 30 years from now. You need to see the numbers. This is not a game, this is real. If you don't become the 1% or get close to it, what future do you have? You have to do something extraordinary. You have to think in a manner that most people can't. Whatever you do now, whatever you're good at, you have to go extra. You have to read more than everybody. You have to study more than everybody. Train more than everybody. Focus more than everybody. You have to remove yourself from common. Common sense is your enemy. I think I know why people have a desire to be common. because common comes with comfort. People want to be comfortable. You don't want a mate that challenges you. You want a mate that makes you feel comfort. All this resting in my femininity, and I want this masculine man, and I want a woman that's feminine, fit, and cooperative. That's comfort. You want to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. Comfort is the silent killer of humans. Comfort. You don't want a mate that challenges you. You don't want to be around people that challenge you. You don't want to be around people that have an expectation of you. You don't want that. You want to be comfortable. You want a man that makes you feel a certain type of way so you can rest. Did you see the numbers that I just showed you? You think you have time to rest? For some reason, modern humans have been tricked to not have your head on a swivel. People have been thinking that everything in nature is not struggling to survive. Acting like you don't have to adapt to changes. Acting like there's not new worlds emerging right now. And you want to rest in your femininity, beloved? It's no guarantee that your bloodline has a spot in the future. Oh yeah, I want a woman that's feminine and submissive. Not one of these dudes say, I want one that's intelligent. See, intelligence improves on the bloodline. Intelligence at least gives us an opportunity to compete for our place on this planet. All you want, beloved, is a woman that you can have sex with? Because that's what you're saying, right? You want her to look a certain type of way so you're aroused sexually. That's what you're saying. But you spend the least amount of time in the bedroom with her. You spend the majority amount of time going through life, deaths in the family, changes with the children, changes in the economy, changes in the society. The majority of your time together is not going to be in the bedroom. So if your primary thing is to find a woman that looks a certain type of way, but I got a question for you. Which one is your woman on here? Do you know? What type of intelligence does your woman have? Do you know? Or you just know her dress size? Does she have spatial intelligence? Kinesthetic intelligence? Musical intelligence? Linguistic intelligence? Does she has logical mathematical skills? Interpersonal intelligence? Intrapersonal intelligence? Does she have naturalistic intelligence? Talk to me. This the woman that you are quote unquote protecting and providing for. What kind of intelligence does she have? Some of you men are stuck in common sense. Let me educate you real quick, beloved. This thing that you call femininity is a switch that a female could go like this to. On, off, on, off, on, off. Do you know why? Because it's a degree of thinking. And you underestimate women intelligence. So if she can turn the switch on and get you to come out of your pocket with resources, get married, and then in the marriage, click the switch off, what kind of intelligence is that? Because you're under the impression that femininity is something that is exclusive to a female, and it is not. A painter can click a feminine switch and paint from that perspective. I thought I told you the universe was mental. You're still caught up on optics. And as long as you are keep focusing on optics, how things look, glamour, and illusion, you'll always be common. And common people don't have children that is going to have clean drinking water during the water wars. You heard it first. The next major world wars are over water. And the uncommon are going to have access to that. What I want to pull you out of is the common thinking, common sense. A person with common sense would have looked at this and said, there's no way. Now, what if the love of your life was on the other side of that? Family members. What if you didn't have, if you didn't figure out a way to get to that other side, your whole tribe would starve to death? See, it's uncommon people that figure out this right here. See, uncommon people allow common people to move around every day, not knowing why their life is so easy. You must be late, sir. Common sense is not rare at all. It's called common sense. Common sense are people that talk with statistics. That's common. Common sense are people that do the same thing, think the same thing, wear the same thing, behave the same way, believe the same things. That's common. The majority of America, no disrespect, are Christian. That's a common sense. The majority of the Arab world is Muslim. That is a common sense. It's a perception that everybody is on. It's a vibration and the frequency that everybody is on. Right? Just for the people in the back, the etymology of the word common, look at it. Go down a little bit. It's something that's shared by all or many. Things that is shared by all cannot have value. Value is something that's rare. Common sense has no value. It's because it's a sense that everybody has. And that's why the majority of humans behave the same exact way and want the same exact things and actually are very easily triggered and manipulated. This is uncommon. The average man or woman would have got to the edge of this and just gave up all hope. Fear would have pumped through their heart would have burst. It's those that have uncommon sense that make it easy for everybody else. There was a time where if a human being would lost their limbs, there's no hope for them. But because you have uncommon people with an uncommon ability to problem solve, you have now given people that have lost major things an opportunity at having a quality life. There was a time where this gentleman, he would have had to play the hand that he was dealt. But because there's people with uncommon sense, this man has an opportunity to walk. Nothing stops. That is because of the uncommon. It is the uncommon that make the world move. It is the 1% that make the world move, not the common. You might not know it, but there's things that you're experiencing on your day-to-day reality because someone uncommon had the audacity to dream. They had the audacity to wonder. They had the audacity to believe failure was okay. And they leaned into it. Oh, you took a plane this year? Oh, okay. It landed, huh? Oh, okay. Huh, interesting. 40,000 feet in the air, huh? Oh, okay. You went on a cruise? Okay, that came out of someone's mind. Oh, you on this phone, huh? Well, that came out of someone's mind. See, the interesting thing about the common individual flex so hard as if you're the one that is making this thing go, and you're not. But you sit and you complain about the system and about the elite and the 1%. Could you make this man walk again? Could you? Could you have done something about this problem right here? People need to get to the other side. Could you have done anything about this? Yes or no? Don't you ever fix your lips to talk about a dreamer, to talk about someone with ambition, to talk about someone with audacity when you're afraid. What have you put out? What have you created? Have you put yourself in a position to fail or nah? Or have you just worked that job your entire life, which I ain't hating on you. But your praise better go to the uncommon every single night when you're on that phone. That came out of someone's mind. When you're FaceTiming your boo, that came out of someone's mind. Now you are connected to an individual that's thousands of miles away. You better thank the dreamer. You better thank the 1%. You better thank the humans that choose to be uncomfortable. Changes in farming. One thing for sure, two things for certain. You might not know who they are, but the uncommon will continue to create things. The uncommon will continue to push this humanity thing forward, while the common huddles in groups, complains, and whines, and jokes, and roasts, right? And kicks and screams when it can't have their way. You got a new year coming up, fam. I don't know who you are out there. I don't really care how you feel about me personally. I honestly don't. But you're going to die one day. What are they going to say about you? Whoever made this gentleman walk has left their imprint on life. Whoever figured out how to connect these two worlds right here has changed this culture's history forever. Helen Keller, born deaf and blind, was writing presidents, graduated from college. George Washington Carver, a castrated man, found over 100 uses for peanut. Save the South. The same place that gave Negroes a hard time. Even if they didn't like how he looked, they had to listen to him. Do you know why? Because he possessed uncommon knowledge. When you're in the 1%, it doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter how you look. People have to listen to you. People have to take heed to you. When you're in the 1%, you change the world. When you're common, you can be oppressed. When you're common, the system is rigged against you. When you're common, you don't have it your way. When you're common and you have common sense, you right over there with everybody else. You and your spouse, y'all look like everybody else. You and your babies, y'all look like everybody else. Your results are like everybody else. And you die and get buried like everybody else. I want to die striving to be in the 1%. I want to die knowing that I put my hand to do something with all my might that was better than everybody else. I want to die knowing that I can do something that other people can't do. See, to me, that's dying in good standing. Now, how you want to die, the choice is yours, but you got options. You can be part of that 99. And I'm telling you, it's familiar over there. You know, you're going to see all the homies. You're going to see all the people that you know, right? You're going to know, sing all the songs, right? Do all the dances. It's the cookout over there, right? It's familiar. And you don't have to transform to become someone else. No. You're good here. It's familiar because it's common. Or you can go that 1% route, right? Where you're going to cry at night because your muscles are hurting because you're pushing your body to greatness. Or your eyes are red because you got to go to work in the morning, but you're staying up reading and you're studying. Or you haven't spent the time with your children that you would like because you're creating something. And you hope they understand and you hope that they love you. But this thing you got to do, right? And you just hope that you can catch your family on the back end. But you're willing to sacrifice for creating something that's bigger than the family. You could go that 1% route where what you're doing, people think is absolutely crazy and no one gets it, right? And they call you everything but a child of God. But if you complete what you're doing, it changes the name of your family for those that come from generational poverty or dysfunction. What happens when you complete that? You now put the family name in the Hall of Fame. What happens if you become this woman that you have in your head or this man that you have in your head? What to happen? The outcome is a mystery because there is no limit to how far a 1% can go. But I already know the outcome of the common person. All you have to do is look at your mother and your father. I'm not Batman. I don't have gadgets and shooty things and crazy gadgets. And I'm not Spider-Man. I don't got a web thing. I'm not that kind of superhero. I just have waves. Until the next time, remember, the Cash App is your friend. My name is Ken Billions. You got to put something down to pick something up.
Thing is game. It's like, remember we was all back in high school? Some of you may be still in high school or whatever, but follow me. We had the regular class, and then you had honors class. And I feel like Ken Billion's game is nothing but honors class. Everything that you learned in life and been through in life, or whatever he's talking about at that certain time, and, you know, like point of reference, game for guys. You know, everybody learn game from somebody, and this and that, and it's all over the place. But once I listened to Game for Guys, it was like being in an honors class. Ken is a brilliant guy. I still listen to him to this day. Listen to him almost every other day, and I stay studying. You know, and if I look at his video and he's giving us homework, I'm gonna look through that video. I'm gonna write my notes down. I'm gonna do my homework. Then I'm gonna watch the next video. I mean, you just can't get enough of the game and the knowledge that this brother brings to you. He's allowed me to look back into history, my own history. I found out about black people that I never even knew about, black millionaires and people like that. Recently, I learned about the reticular activating system, and that's something that I'm studying up on as we speak. Which I plan on reprogramming myself. You know what I'm saying? So overall, the Ken Billion's game has done a lot for me. It's allowed me to elevate as a man, as a father. It just allowed me to be more excited about life and not be in the program of being oppressed. And that's one of the main things for me that I have to say that this game has done for me. I'm so glad that I ran across it.